Hello everybody, welcome back to Auto Anorak. Great to have you here for part 2 of the Sultan of Brunei's car collection, and let's just get straight back into it. Here's one of the more spectacular, more out there ones, the Bentley Buccaneer. What a ridiculous name for a ridiculous car. It looks like the Thunderbird's Fab 1, except it doesn't have 6 wheels with a Bentley nose. It's weird. Standard flat nose Porsche with what you can see is probably a gigantic collection of Land Rover Defenders in the background. Here's another Brunei royal family special. This is, I think, the only Ferrari Testarossa F512 Roadster in the world. I think I've got that name right. Here's a ridiculously long Rolls Royce. And then there's another picture of the XJ220 prototype Pininfarina car that he had built. But then there's two cars that I don't understand. The silver one looks kind of like a Maybach concept car, and the other one does look Bentley-ish. I definitely think it's Bentley. It's a red Bentley, but the rear lights look like they're off a Chrysler Neon. I am bemused. I'm weirded out. It's dated as 1995. I think they're both Bentleys, but I've never seen the cars before. And this car, if you've ever seen the strange, I think it's Mitsuoka replica Rolls Royces in Japan, the front of this looks kind of like it. It is a real Bentley that he had made for him. Of course, again, a McDonald's spec, but it looks so weird. It looks like it's trying to be cute, and also it's really evil. And of course, there's a million Bentleys in the background. And then this, look at that V8 older Aston Martin shooting brake in a deep British racing green. I think that looks spectacular. I think it's a job well done on that one. Another matte black Ferrari Venice. Definitely won't be a wrap on this one. Then, so the other shooting brake Aston we just saw, I think was a two-door, but this isn't a shooting brake. This is an estate Aston Martin. And then we've got a saloon Aston Martin before the Rapide was even a thing. Then we have the Aston Martin V600 shooting brake. I can't even believe what I'm looking at. And there's not like one of these. He has them in loads of colors, because why not? And of course, you can't just have a V600 shooting brake. You've also got to have it in saloon Aston Martin Rapide form. Also, you've been looking at the old Aston Martin Virages in shooting brake form, but he also had a wide body sportier one. I think this is the most body versions of a car ever. Here is the long list of body styles that he had made for him for the Aston Martin Virage on top of the normal one. So normally you could buy the Aston, of course, as a two-door coupe, but he also had it made in wide body. He had a convertible narrow body. He had a convertible wide body. He had a three-door wagon low roof, three-door wagon high roof, three-door wagon wide body, four-door saloon long wheelbase, four-door saloon wide body, four-door lift back, don't know what that is, five-door wagon with high roof. I can't believe it. Apparently this whole project cost $50 million on a car that, yes, is worth an awful lot of money these days, but nothing like that. Here as well is a Bentley shooting brake that was probably done in an equally large amount of body styles. Here is the Bentley Rapier. 540 brake horsepower V8 in the 90s, which is insane. You gotta remember, the BMW M5 in like 2012 had like 550 horsepower, along with the Nissan GT-R, it only had 550 horsepower in 2012. And that was the top tier saloon and I guess kind of supercar competitor things. So having 540 horsepower in a saloon in the 90s is bonkers. They also made this car in a lot of other forms. I believe there was I believe there was also convertible. Here we have even more Mercedes 560s. He loved those. And this, another one of my favorites because it looks kind of unlike any other Bentley ever. I don't want to say that I'm getting Peugeot vibes, but the car looks almost French. Can I say that? I don't know, you know, like French car design in the 90s kind of reminds me of that, or maybe one of the old Volvo C70s. Anyway, it's the Bentley Java. They made these cars in a lot of body styles. I think they made them in coupes, I think they made them in convertibles, they made them as estates as well. So there's a whole plethora of these cars, and the crazy thing about this compared to a lot of the other cars that he had is this is not a car that we ever saw as members of the public. You know, the Ferrari Venice that he had commissioned, that car we would have seen as the Ferrari 456 in public, whereas the Java looks unlike anything we've ever seen. Is that a Bentley Arnage, an old one? I'm really bad with old Bentleys, but it's a very extended wheelbase one. We've got another bizarre Bentley, which looks closer to a Rolls-Royce Wraith than I would imagine. Another LMO02 that I think he owned, which is like a high top roof LMO02 thing, and this BMW fans rejoice and cry at the same time, because you might not have known about this car, and if you do, well yeah, you're gonna cry. It's the BMW Nazca, a mid-engined V12 BMW, and that is so special to BMW lovers because they haven't really made a supercar other than the M1. Now you could say the i8, but come on, it's a 3-cylinder. It has the supercar looks, but not the power plant and not quite the performance. The Nazca was a car, I don't know if it had the McLaren F1 V12, but it mustn't have been too far apart from that. A really incredible car, had butterfly doors. I personally think it looks amazing, and that's coming from a Mercedes lover. Really sad to have never seen this car come out. I think it might have been stored in Singapore for a number of years. Oh, okay. If there was one car that I wish was offered in the used market from here, it is this. It's the Mercedes. Now, Mercedes lovers, get ready for this. This collection of letters and words and numbers. The Mercedes S73 Wagon. So firstly, it's an S-Class estate, which has never been a thing, and it's also got a CL front. Kind of strange, but I believe it works. Although some of them might not have had CL fronts, I don't know. And it's got the 7.3 litre V12 that we saw in the Pagani Zonda. I've at least seen 2 versions of these he has. He's got one in a strange, like an orangey red, brown colour, and he's also got one in like a grey, black colour, kind of what you'd expect. These things are magnificent. I can only imagine what they'd sound like with F-spots, equal length header exhaust system from Mr. Sasaki, brilliant exhaust. This would be the most amazing estate ever if it was on sale. Can you imagine the premiums these things would fetch? Again, I think this might be a picture of all of those Aston Martin Virages I was talking about earlier, and you can really see what's going on here. Yes, he has thousands and thousands of cars, but he kind of like just copies and copies loads of them. So, in terms of individual models, there may only be maybe like 400, 500, but then he copies them so much. If you liked the movie Bad Boys and you dream of owning a Porsche 964 Turbo, okay, yeah, you might want to look away. This might make you cry. This is a collection of 964 Turbos that I believe he owned that will never really see the light of day. Again, Mercedes SLs as far as the eye can see. This is one of the photos I'm not 100% certain are all of his cars, but I have suspicion to say that they are. And look at all of the S-Classes again. This, I don't know why the background is like this. It's a Bentley that I've certainly never seen before, and there is a picture of this Bentley in its camouflage being tested. Never seen it before. And there's another one here, never seen it before, which doesn't have quite as bad of a background. And then there's another one in this weird convertible aubergine kind of shape. I am kind of lost for words. There are so many cars here that I've never seen in my entire life, and I've been obsessed with cars for my entire life. It is ridiculous. Wow. I think I showed you this photo earlier, but the Bentley Java, it just looks evil. Does that not just look evil in its estate form? I can't believe what you'd think if you saw one of these cars in the 1990s that never existed before. Again, well hey, Bentley I've never ever seen before. More pictures of the Bentley that I've never seen before, being like in its delivery process and so forth. The Royce Cloudesque. This was the really gigantic one I showed you. Again, is that the Bentley Rapier? I don't know. There's so many of these cars that I've never seen before, and they all look quite similar. Here's a bunch of Ferraris. I think this is the Testarossa room from another angle. This 560 SEC is the kind of car I think of when I think of 80s. Of course, the first cars I think of, Countach and Testarossa, but after that, I think of a car like this. Or, of course, 911 Turbo. Is that an Avalanche by Gambala? Porsche Flatnose, I think it might be a 930. Fingers crossed, Porsche boys, Porsche gang, where are you? And then, the last place you'd expect it, the JDM boys are rejoicing. This is an untouched, completely clean, original condition Mark III Supra. Although I must say, you're all gonna cry now because it's probably like completely rotted away now. Then the DeTomaso LongChamp looks like an old Merc. I don't know if it's based off an old Merc, but that's a very cool looking car. I certainly haven't seen it before. I don't know if it's unique or not. And another Merc. It's the AM4. Wow, very cool, very interesting design. I thought it was DB7-esque, but it's actually a bit more bubbly, a bit more interesting. And the AM3 is like an Aston wearing glasses. The front lights, whenever you look into them, actually do kind of look like McLaren F1 front lights. Have the name of that other Bentley that I was talking about, the Bentley B3. Wow, which must mean there was a B1 and a B2, maybe a B4. Another Rolls Royce that I've never seen before. A Bentley with louvers on it that looks completely bespoke. It might be an old Continental. All, I repeat, all of the old Mercedes SLs. I think it's R129s. Wow. Here's a picture of some of the royal family of Brunei in London with their Enzo and their Maybach. Is that 62? Must be a 62. Yeah, it is a 62. Okay, I've got to admit again, not 100% sure, but I believe this is another Brunei royal family car. Looks like a 550 Maranello, but it's a Spider with like a folding hardtop. And the hardtop, I'm told, is from an SLK Mercedes. Then to finish it all, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Mercedes, and we'll finish it with this bizarre, is that 1000 in the back of that car? Bright orange Mercedes limo. Access to the max. I'm really sorry guys if this seemed like a list video or something like that, but I wanted to bring you guys something that was closest to like a full tour of the collection. I'm really sorry that I couldn't bring the full thing to you, and I didn't go into full detail, and I didn't do 100% research on all of these cars, mainly because there's just so many of them. The Stradman videos, I've put hours of research into each car whenever I'm doing like a Stradman collection video, whereas with this I can only put in a little bit of research towards each car because I did just cover a huge amount of cars. But I think this video will really give you a good grasp of what the collection is like. You saw there bits of the background, you saw like that he also had a huge collection of old Land Rover Defenders, you saw the sheer amount of Rolls Royces, the sheer amount of Bentleys, the amount of McLaren F1s, Ferraris, and then he really has a bit of everything. You saw the yellow and red McDonald's spec car as one of his weird fascinations, and so I think that was a huge summary of what a lot of the cars are. And also again with that Aston Martin Virage with the 15 body types, you can see that loads of the cars are him just replicating the body types, and then he has like 8 cars within each body type. And if this man has 8 cars of each body type and he's making 15 different body types, then what's that? Is that like 120 or something cars? Is that probably? Yeah, 120 I'm gonna say, of that specific type of car. So you can see how it builds up to a number like 10,000 cars. And that's what I wanted to do. That was the goal of this video, to get as close to a full tour of the Sultan of Brunei's collection as I possibly could, because it's something I've always wanted. You know, my friend, a buddy, told me about the Sultan of Brunei's car collection many years ago. I've been fascinated about it since. So thank you so much for watching the closest we could get to the full tour of the Sultan of Brunei's car collection. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I mean, anyone that came over from Life of Palos and stuff, I love it. I love it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.
Good.